Hi folks, HR Funk here. If any of you saw the video review I did a couple of weeks ago of my new to me Smith & Wesson Model 469, you might remember a quip at the end of that video where I said, hey, if any of you have a Miami Classic holster that fits a 469 you want to part with, let me know. Well, I was joking as far as any of you contacting me with a holster you wanted to get rid of. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought I really would like to have a classic shoulder system to go with the 469. So I started to look online to see what I could find, and not surprisingly, for a pistol that's more than 3 decades beyond the time it was manufactured, I couldn't find a lot. But I did go to Optics Planet, and I wasn't real optimistic, but I put Smith & Wesson Model 469 holster in the search window, and lo and behold, it came up with a Galco Classic Lite holster, or shoulder system rather, that would fit the Model 469. So I was pretty excited about that, and I contacted the folks that I work with at Optics Planet, and they very generously provided me with this holster system for the review video today. And during the course of this video, I'm going to cover everything from proper assembly and adjustment of this shoulder system to its general comfort, all of its features, and a little bit on how you actually use it and how it works best. I want to say thanks to the folks at Optics Planet for providing this holster for me. And for any of you who might be interested, these are very economically priced when you compare this to other leather shoulder holsters out there. Now this one does have a lot of suede in its construction, but even so, most leather shoulder holsters are up around $200. This one, for the suede construction, is just over $100. So a very economical shoulder holster, and one that I'm going to be very happy to tell you about during this review. When you first receive your Classic Lite shoulder system, or any Galco shoulder system for that matter, it comes in a box with all the components, but the components are not assembled. So your first order of business is going to be to assemble all of the components and then adjust them to properly fit your body. So I'm going to go over that, and we're going to assemble this Classic Lite shoulder system. I'll show the adjustment, and then we'll start looking at how some of the different firearms fit in this particular holster. Before I remove it from the box, I want to bring this up so you can see all of the Smith & Wesson pistols that this shoulder system is compatible with, and you can see there's a bunch of them. And I'm going to try several of the pistols you see listed here before I finish the video, just to see how well they do fit. Packaged inside the box, along with the Classic Lite shoulder system, is a product information guide that goes over assembly and care and maintenance of the holster. Also, Galco has an instructional video posted on YouTube that covers assembly as well as use of their shoulder systems. So those are both very instructional, and basically what I'm going to be doing is following the same instructions that Galco has presented, and we're going to see how well that works, and I'm also going to follow their instructions as far as fitting the holster. Now, I have done this before with my Galco Jackass rig, so this is not a first-time experience for me, but I'm going to go over it with you so you can see exactly how it works and how well the holster fits in the end. When you remove all the parts of the holster system from the box, you'll find it consists of 4 different parts. There is the shoulder harness, which we see here in the middle, the holster itself over here off to the side, and quickly with the holster, it does have a thumb snap retention and also a tension adjustment screw here at the bottom of the holster. There is the magazine holder here, and inside of the magazine holder, or magazine pouch if you will, if I can get it to unsnap, there we go, is the hardware for finally completing the assembly of the holster, and this basically consists of some screws and nuts to hold everything in place once you get the adjustments done. When I start the assembly process, I like everything to be laid out just like this, because this is more or less the orientation that everything will be in when the shoulder system is finally constructed. And when I start out, I'm going to try to get a close-up on the hinge plate here. And I don't know if you're going to be able to read that or not, but Galco is written across there right side up, and that's exactly the way this is going to be when it's positioned in the center of your back, which is where you want it to be when everything is finally put together and adjusted. Now let me back up again. There we go. So if this is in the middle of your back, your head is going to be here in this area. Your left shoulder is going to be here, right shoulder is going to be here, and your back is going to be down in this area. So the components, more or less, are properly arranged where they're going to be when everything, as I said before, is all put together. That makes it a little bit easier to think about this as you're doing it to make sure you get everything in the right place. Now to begin our assembly, I'm going to start out with the holster. And I'll take the first shoulder strap and put it down through the keeper here. And this is a tight fit, which is good. You don't want this to be loose. And I'm just going to pull a little bit of it through and run it through the center hole, just like that. And that's where I'm going to leave it for right now. And I'm going to do the same thing with the strap that attaches to the rear keeper. I'm going to run just about the same amount through there and put it through the middle and leave it just like that. And that will hold it well enough until we get the final adjustment done. Now I'm going to move over here to the ammunition holder, or I should say the magazine pouch, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to run it down through the keeper like so. And right through that hole in the center. Same thing back here. And again, that will hold everything well enough until we get the holster properly adjusted. Now at this point, I've put the classic Lite shoulder system on, and I've also put the 469 in the holster, and I have a magazine in the magazine pouch, just so everything is properly proportioned for the way it's going to be when I'm actually wearing the holster for real. And what I'm going to do is start to adjust the straps, and I want to bring the pistol and the magazine up as high as I can under my arm, into my armpit area, without getting it so high that it's uncomfortable. So I'm going to adjust both the straps to raise these up, and you can see they're pretty low to begin with. And Galco recommends that you have someone help you with this so you can just wear the holster and they can adjust the straps for you, which is a good way to go about it. But it's not impossible to do by yourself, and I'm going to go ahead and just adjust these myself. And I'm not going to take a video the whole time that I'm fiddling around, loosening and tightening and all that. But I'll start to make the adjustments, and then I'll have a break in the video, and I'll come back when I have it properly adjusted. But for the holster, I'm just going to start to pull the strap through here, and then I can do the same thing with this strap in the back. And I'm just going to continue to adjust those, and I want to end up with the holster being horizontal. You can, if you want to, have a muzzle up carry with this holster, which would make it a little bit easier to carry a longer pistol concealed, but with the 469 particularly, I'm not worried about that, so I want it to be horizontal when I get it completely adjusted. And as you can see, I have the shoulder system pretty well adjusted at this point. I have the pistol pretty well up under my right arm, not so high that it's going to be uncomfortable, but I have it where I need it to be. Same thing with the ammunition pouch, or I should say the magazine pouch on this side. And one of the things that I found helpful while adjusting these straps was to use a mirror, because you have to keep track of a lot of things, not only the position of the holster and the magazine holder, but also this hinge plate in the center of your back to make sure that it does stay in the center of your back and doesn't end up over one shoulder or down behind your arm or something like that. So as I said, the straps are all pretty well adjusted now, so I'm going to go to the final step in assembling this system. Then we'll take a look at how well it fits different pistols and how well it works in general. So to complete our assembly, I'm going to make a couple of minute adjustments to the straps just to make sure that these holes are lining up. And these aren't too bad, just a little bit of adjustment here. So that I've got those holes lining up on both straps. Then I'll do the same thing with the straps on the magazine holder. That one didn't require much. And this one looks pretty good just the way it is. Now I'm going to run our straps through the final loop on each keeper, and I'm going to double check that and make sure that we didn't misalign our holes, and those look good. I'll do the same thing with each one of the four, and then we'll have one more step left in the process. And there we go. Our four straps are all through both loops on the keeper, or keepers. And the only thing we have left to do is to secure these loose ends. And isn't that always the case? We have to finish up our loose ends as the very last step. So it would appear that I misspoke earlier when I said the small plastic bag that was shipped inside the magazine holder contained screws and nuts. As it turns out, it contained these small plastic rivets. So this is a change that Galco has made to their shoulder systems. The older holster that I have, the Jackass rig, does have the screws and nuts, but the plastic rivets will serve the same purpose. And what I'm going to do, if you look at our strap, you can see the portion that's going to be visible when you're wearing the holster. That is this portion here. And then there is the loose end that's going to be closest to your body. So we want to turn this so that loose end is facing up. Then if you look at our rivet, you can see it has a large diameter side and a small diameter side. So we're going to start the small diameter side through, as we're looking at our loose end, just like this. And when we get done, the large diameter side is still going to be facing us. You'll be able to read the word Galco. And what I like to do with this is use the hole that is highest up the strap so I have the least amount of unsecured strap still at the end. And I'm going to start this rivet through here, and you can see there's a slot to make this a little bit easier behind the hole. And this is going to be a little bit like buttoning a shirt, just like that. Now, I'm going to do the same thing with the hole in the other strap. There we go. Just like that. And I'm going to do that for each strap in the system to make sure that it's all secured. And that will be the final step in our assembly. And I've succeeded in installing all of those plastic rivets. You can see the small diameter portion on what will be the exposed strap of the shoulder system, and the larger diameter head that says Galco on the bottom strap. And on the magazine holder, I was able to secure the last hole in each side, so I have basically no unsecured strap left beyond the rivet. But on the holster side, I do have some unsecured strap. You can see there are no holes higher up on this strap to secure this portion too. Now eventually you can trim this off if you want, but it's a good idea not to do any trimming until you've worn the shoulder system for a while and you make sure that you have it properly adjusted and you don't want to change anything. You don't want to cut off some portion of the strap and then later on decide you need to readjust it and not have that strap available for the adjustment. So with our classic Lite shoulder system assembled and adjusted, let's see what all it fits. And before I start to fit the pistols, one thing I want to mention is that with this suede construction, I think wear to the pistol finish is going to be minimized. I think this is going to be a lot like having a lined holster. If you have a standard leather holster with lining, only in this case, since the holster itself is constructed of suede, we already have a very soft surface against our pistols. And it's also a little bit pliable, which I think is going to come into play as I start to fit all of these various different pistols inside the holster. The other thing that I'll mention is the magazine holder has two snaps. A bottom snap to maximize the room for a larger magazine, and another snap to reduce that area to help hold a smaller magazine, or maybe I should say a shorter magazine, securely in place. So I think between the suede construction and that double snap magazine pouch, we're going to see a lot of variation in the types of pistols that this holster, or holster system I should say, will accommodate. And first up is the 469, and you can see that it fits perfectly in the classic Lite shoulder holster. It is well back in from the end. And one of the things I want to point out is that the 469 does have that very squared off trigger guard with the little projection there at the front. And there are some holsters that this will cause a problem with in terms of fit. But as I said, with our classic Lite shoulder system, there is no problem whatsoever with the fit of the pistol in the holster. And also, the magazine is held very securely in the magazine holder. Moving on, I have my first generation Model 39-2 in this holster. Again, it fits very well. It does extend slightly beyond the end of the holster here, but considering that this is going to be under your arm and probably have shirt material and or jacket material or whatever your cover garment is made out of over top of it, I'm not really concerned about that at all. And with the magazine holder, even though this is a single stack magazine, I have it on the longer snap, or the snap that allows the longer length of the strap. And again, it is held very securely inside the magazine holder. How about the smallest of the factory-produced Smith & Wesson third generation pistols? This is my CS9 in the classic Lite holster, and it also is not going anywhere unless that shoulder snap, or excuse me, that thumb snap is released. Likewise, the magazine for the CS9 is a little loose in there. You can hear it moving around some, but it is not coming out of there no matter what I do. So again, that's going to be secure for carry. And already we're starting to see some of the versatility of this holster. We've gone from the 469 to the full-size Model 39 to the CS9. So now let's try something a little bigger. And in terms of traditional Smith & Wesson semi-autos, you don't get a whole lot bigger than my 745. And you can see it is inside the classic Lite holster. Now this was a tight fit here, and because the suede stretches just a little bit, I was able to secure the thumb snap. And the pistol does readily go in and out. Likewise, the magazine is completely secured in the magazine holder. So again, great versatility with this holster. And how about my 5904? No problem whatsoever with the classic 59 series double stack 9mm pistol. It does extend just a little bit beyond the end of the holster. And I should have mentioned with the 745 before, because it did extend quite a bit beyond the end. If I was going to carry that, I would adjust it so that it was a butt-down, muzzle-up configuration with the holster, just so that wasn't protruding so far out, potentially causing a bulge in the back of my cover garment behind my arm. And the 59 series double stack magazine also is very secure in the magazine holder. Last up is my 1076 10mm, also very secure in the classic Lite shoulder holster. Just like the 745, it does extend beyond the end of the holster, although not as far as the 745. Even so, I would again configure this with a muzzle up, butt down type of a ride with this shoulder holster. And once again, the magazine, which is a single stack 10mm magazine, is very secure in the magazine holder. So I don't think it's a stretch to say, folks, that if you have any Smith & Wesson pistol in the first, second, or third generation series, it is going to fit this classic Lite shoulder system. And that is really quite nice, especially if you're like me and you've got a variety of Smith & Wesson handguns that you might be carrying, to be able to have one shoulder system that's going to work well for all of them. One other thing I want to mention before I move on is the thumb brake for the classic Lite shoulder system. You can see there's a metal reinforcement tab here for the thumb brake, which gives it a very positive release. This is not just a floppy piece of suede. It does have that metal reinforcement. So it makes for a very positive release when you are removing your pistol from this classic Lite holster. I decided before I move on to test the fit of the classic Lite holster with one more pistol, and that's my double action only 5943. And the reason I wanted to test this one is because these pistols, if you're not aware, are a little bit longer from the cutout where the safety would be on a standard pistol to the rear of the slide. This dimension is just a little bit longer, and sometimes with thumb snaps that will make it difficult to fit these pistols in the holster. And it was very tight to get the thumb strap around the rear portion of the slide and snapped in the pistol, but I did manage to do it. And I think with some use, that strap would stretch slightly and make that easier to get in and out. And so again, I'll say what I did a couple of minutes ago, that I think virtually any Smith & Wesson first, second, or third generation pistol, even the double action onlys, are going to work with the classic Lite shoulder system, You might just have to give that strap a little bit of a stretch for some of them though to get all the way around the back of the slide. So now I've placed my Model 469 back in the classic Lite holster, which I said at the outset of the video is the pistol I wanted to get this holster system for, and the one that I'm going to carry it most often in. And I can say a couple of things about the shoulder system in general. First, it is very comfortable. As I move, bend, or do anything else, there is really no position that I move into where I feel like I'm pulling against the shoulder straps or anything else. So very comfortable. It is also very light. I have the weight of the pistol, and this is an unloaded magazine currently, but I would normally have the weight of the magazine over here to counterbalance it a little bit. Now the one thing that I do notice is with the weight of the pistol on this side, there is a tendency to want to pull the system, or the shoulder holster I should say, to this side. So I think I probably will get a tie down for this side, the magazine holder side, just to keep everything right where I want it and keep it from starting to pull down just from the weight of the pistol. But again, very comfortable, very easy to move in. I like this. I like the fact that I can use a lot of different Smith & Wesson pistols in this holster or in this system. So in general, I'm very, very pleased with the classic Lite shoulder system. And much as I expected, the pistol, magazine, and holster system completely vanishes when I add a cover garment like my vest here. Now obviously with a shoulder system, this is one of those types of carry methods where you have to use a cover garment or else it becomes visible to all the world to see. But when you add the cover garment, again, it's virtually impossible to see that I'm carrying a firearm. In terms of presentation from cover, it's very simple. Now Galco recommends a couple of different methods for drawing from their shoulder holsters. I use a modified version of one of the ones they show. When I'm reaching for the pistol in the shoulder holster, my off arm comes across in front of my body, which actually brings the pistol closer to my strong hand for the draw. Once I come inside, and I'm going to do this with my vest off in a couple of minutes so you can see exactly what's going on here and why I'm doing it this way. But once I access the pistol, I'm able to release the thumb snap easily. As the pistol comes out, you notice it's pointing down and away from my body. It's going to rotate as my hand, my support hand, comes down along the side of the pistol and brings it up into a firing position. So nowhere during this movement is the muzzle of the pistol ever pointed toward any portion of my body. So again, with my vest removed, you can see as I bring my non-shooting hand or my off hand across in front of my body, it actually turns the pistol and the muzzle slightly out away from my body. So I'm accessing the pistol with my shooting hand and releasing that thumb snap. And as I remove the pistol from the holster, you can see that the muzzle the whole time is pointed away from my body. Again, as my hands come down, or my support hand comes down, and my strong hand brings the pistol out, it's coming around this way. My hands come together, and then I'm pressing out into a shooting position. So again, very simple, and it does require a little bit of practice to make sure that you are presenting your pistol correctly from the shoulder holster, but that's no different than any other type of holster that you might be drawing from. When it comes to reholstering, I reach down and use my thumb to hold the strap of the holster, and I'm going to use my fingers to pull back on the thumb snap, or the thumb strap rather, and reinsert the pistol and resecure the snap. And I'll do that once with my vest on, just so you can see what that looks like with a cover garment added. So again, from cover, here's our presentation, and here is our reholster. Notice as I'm inserting the pistol, I'm again not pointing the muzzle toward any portion of my body, and resecure the snap. And you notice the whole time that I was doing that, I was looking at the camera and not looking at the pistol. So it is possible to do that without ever taking your eyes off of whatever threat or whatever situation you might be dealing with. So that's my video review of the Galco Classic Lite shoulder system. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, as always, make sure you forward those to me. I also want to thank Optics Planet for supplying this shoulder system for me. Remember, if you order anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it's good for 5% off anything you purchase from Optics Planet. See you next time, folks. And until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.